What is up, guys? Michael from cultureshopcollectables.com. Today we are doing a Q&A. So this question comes from Instagram and it's coming to us from Figure Happenings. The question is, what age did you seriously start collecting? What was your main focus of your original collection and how has it evolved? So this is a cracker question because I want to say I started collecting probably at an early age. I reckon I was like probably five or six, even maybe a little bit earlier. Early 90s, my uncle and his missus at the time came over and she brought over this box full of her older son's figures. And I went through this box. There was like G1 Transformers, there was old school Lego, the space station stuff, and there was vintage Star Wars. So it's safe to say from that moment on, I was absolutely sold on action figures and wanting to collect them. Now, obviously, these vintage figures, even back then, were pretty hard to get your hands on. So we had to go on a hunt. Little did I know that actually around the corner from my house was a pawn shop that sold vintage Star Wars figures and heaps of other cool shit. And so my dad would bring me down there and we'd buy an individual loose figure. Some of these actually are my originals. That Chewbacca there is one of the figures that was in that box that my uncle's missus gave me at the time. So that's the actual original Chewbacca. The rest, I've collected over the years, but Star Wars was definitely my main focus, and vintage Star Wars was the main focus for me. We'd go down to the pawn shop on weekends. I'd beg my dad to bring me down there and get me a figure. He had all these loose figures, plus he had all the carded stuff. So at the time, the carded stuff was pretty, expensive. So dad would buy me all the loose ones. But if we had known, we probably should have bought all those carded ones because they're worth an absolute mint now. But this is definitely where it all started for me with vintage Star Wars. And I started collecting it in the 90s. So after that, Power of the Force and all the other lines that came after it. So the second part of the question was, how has it evolved, the collection? Well, shit got out of hand. I then started collecting Power Rangers, moved into wrestling figures, and as I got older, then came Hot Toys. There's, of course, Ninja Turtles, other Marvel figures and DC figures. Got obsessed with gargoyles. Had a short phase with Gundam. Picked up a whole bunch of vintage bike mice. So as you can see, my relationship with collecting has just evolved over time. And as I got older, had my own money and could spend it on whatever the hell I wanted. So it's all about nostalgia for me. It's all about having this awesome fortress of solitude, so to speak, that I can come to, hang out, move shit around, dust things off with a bit of feed clean, and just enjoy it. So that's an awesome question. Thanks for sending it through.